Welcome back, everybody. This is Dave the Gamer. Today wanted to make you guys a guide on exactly how to get all the world buffs. Be sure to check the description if you want to skip ahead. I'm going to go through, show you how to get each one. To start, I'm going to show you exactly the path you want to take in DM North to get the tribute buffs, and kind of give you a bunch of tips and tricks along the way, what you need to look for, how to pull off this the most efficient way by making it to BWL or AQ or whatever you might be doing with having the most time on your buffs. So first, when you come into DM North, what I typically always do is I will slash who, and first you want to have a guild be able to do this. But that's not always possible. So what I always do is I type in 60 Hunter Dire North. And then I will make a little message and I say, hey, do you mind if I buy a DM North buff for 5 gold? All you need when you come in here, you need an invisible potion if you're not a rogue to get past one of the bosses. So if you look at the path I'm exactly taking, as long as they killed and they are the king, there is nothing aggressive minus the three or four bosses within here. So one within the middle there. If you go there, there is also another padding around guy. Depends on if someone's professional or whatever you want to call it, that they typically mark the bosses exactly so you don't run into anybody. See how I hover over that one right there and it has the little sword? That one shows that it's still aggressive. So you don't want to mess with that one and you want to continue down the hallway here. Some things you want to note about while coming here. One, you should have all of the potions you need prior to even coming here. So everything you want for the raid, already have it in your bag. Like I said, you need an invisible potion and some other things that will really help speed up and save time on your buffs once you do get them is anything for speed boost. So nifty stopwatch or swiftness potion, things of that sort, any way that you can speed up, like you want to be using your blink on cooldown, everything like that adds up to, 5 minutes extra on a buff or on your buffs at the end of the day, which doesn't sound like much, but later on when you're trying to do AQ, then BWL, then Ony, like the more buffs you can keep, the longer it is. So this spot here, he actually trapped the boss there, but see where I'm going with my cursors? What you'd want to do is you would actually want to pop your invisible potion right around that corner typically, and you will run past the boss there. Now, he was nice enough to actually kill everything there, but it's not normally like that. That spot, there's usually a couple aggressive mobs, so you'll wait for the boss to pat around, pop the invisibility potion, and keep on running. Now, he was smart enough that when someone talks to that boss, he actually stays in place for like 30 seconds or a minute. So someone strategic about it, they could, whoever has the king buff will talk to them to get their buff and basically stop them in a spot that you almost don't even need an invisible potion. Now this part here, he already killed them in this clip here. But there's usually 2 aggressive mobs that will be standing here. As a mage, I would Frost Nova and then Blink. For a hunter or whoever, you could send your pet in. There's multiple ways to get past them, but basically, no matter what, you're just going to keep trucking on through, basically slow them things down, keep running through, and you're going to talk to this person up ahead that's going to give you the king buff itself. Now that you got the king buff, you're going to head back to actually get the buff. The king buff, all it does is make sure nothing in the whole place will attack you. And as you see, like I have Skull of Impending Doom on. I have all of my potions ready to go raiding right afterwards. The most efficient way, like I said, to do this is to do it in a guild, for the fact that you can have people set up the summon. Most of the time, our guild, they do it before I get off work, so I'm always screwed. That's why I buy my buffs. But for a normal person, what you'd want to do is you want to have someone be able to summon to Booty Bay, to Felwood to get the Songflower, another person outside of Upper Blackrock Spire for the fire buff, And then if Darkmoon Faire, you have another warlock there. So typically, like our guild, I think has 6 different warlocks scattered throughout the different zones, ready to summon just strictly for bosses or strictly for buffs. So you're going to jump down here. This is where you're going to talk to the actual, this is when everything actually starts to get onto a timer. So from the minute you talk to him, your buffs are ticking. So make sure you're strategic with this. So that person in the corner has not got any buffs yet. So they were able to play around. But right where I'm at here, to the right, to the left of me is usually aggressive mobs, and that's why you have to use an invisible potion. Most people for a regular tribute run will not have all this killed. Now that person asked me not to stop the boss and screw him, but I'm going to show you exactly how and where you'd kind of want to stop the boss. So see how he pats the whole way over here? Boom. That's when you talk to him and it stops the person from moving. Now someone could get by a lot easier. Like I said, if the other 2 mobs are there, you still have to use an invisible potion. So this is where I pop Skull of Impending Doom. You start making sure you use your blinks on cooldown. Anything speed boost wise, the time is now ticking. And as you'll see here, I'm going to get the other... Since I am a mage, I don't need the attack power buff. I get as many buffs as possible. Sometimes I'll even buy like cheap scrolls to pop. For whatever reason, I mean, I imagine it happens on your server, but there's always mages trolling, or priests trolling, and they'll actually dispel your buffs. So the more buffs you have on, the better the chance they're not taking out your best buffs. So this is where you get the attack power buff. And I'll be sure to hover over all of the buffs I'm getting. So if this is your first time, you can see what buff it is. And you can kind of be like, oh, well, I don't need that buff. You know, some guilds don't require any world buffs. But we've done it. We've done BWO without getting world buffs. And I feel like we're about an hour and a half to 2 hours. With world buffs and everything, we have it down to about 50 minutes, I believe. So it shaves off a lot of time. You figure you're saving over an hour of time among 40 people. It is kind of a pain in the ass to get all these. Now, as soon as you got this 3rd buff, this is when, if you're doing it with a guild, the mage will already have a portal set up, or you'll automatically get summoned to the next zone. I am doing this all strictly pretty much by myself, so I'll show you how to do it as most efficient as possible by yourself. Like I said, I'm not going to have perfect timing since I am by myself. Ideally, you want to be summoned by everybody. So an important add-on to have that I kind of hovered over there for a second is Nova World Buffs. So I'm going to show you exactly what Nova World Buffs does and why it's so important. So with Nova World Buffs, it shows on your minimap how much time is left. And did you see the little time pop up? It shows me Onyxia is dropping in 12 seconds. It will also put it in chat, my guild chat, let everybody know like, hey, here it is, hurry up, log on. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll log on my alt account just to be able to watch to see what the timers are, and then log out as soon as I get a buff, and then log back onto my alt. So this is where you'd fly to Felwood, which I don't recommend flying. This is where you'd want someone to actually summon you to Felwood, as it is the most efficient way to get the buffs. I apologize for the little bit of lag in the footage here. I'm doing a voiceover just to give you guys a little break from my ugly mug. And why it is lagging so bad, I don't know. It definitely wasn't this bad earlier. But ideally what you want to do is as soon as you get close to landing from the flight pattern, you want to log out. When you're in flight, it's an automatic log out, so there is no 20-second timer. This is where you would log out, jump onto an alt account. Ideally, you have your alt account already stationed in Felwood to be able to see if there is a live Songflower or not. And I already know, I checked on my alt to see that this Songflower is about to turn live. So as soon as this starts happening, you're going to go right to the actual location. So if you see on the mini map with the Nova world timers, it also will show you what timers is on the Songflowers, which is excellent. So this is something you should never do. You should not stop to pick up dream foil when your buffs are ticking. That is a rookie mistake for that 2 gold, you know. Don't tell anybody I did that, but you would skip that one, and like I said, you would have someone summon you right to where the flight path is, so you instantly get this. I pretty much wasted about 2 minutes of buffs. So this is where you want to have the plant self is how you clean a corrupted flower, and you get the Songflower. So from here, the next step you're going to be looking to get is I would teleport or port to Org, and you're actually going to get the Rend Buff. The problem with the Rend Buff is, for whatever reason on my server, everybody trolls and they're like, oh yeah, we're dropping it, and then they don't drop it at all. So it's quite annoying. And even if you're on your alt account, it only gives you a 6-second heads up on when it's dropping. So for this raid, I did not have Ren. As a caster, Ren really isn't that important. It gives you a little bit of health. For DPS, melee DPS, it definitely does help overall. So right now I'm waiting on, finally I got my guild with me. They're going to summon me to Upper Blackrock Spire. And this is where you're going, well, first I'm actually going to get summoned to Booty Bay. So if for whatever reason you're having troubles getting to Booty Bay, same as DM North, you could pay a warlock in Booty Bay, join their group. Like I usually pay 10 gold to actually get summoned to Booty Bay. So it's a pain in the butt sometimes. But as you see here, I already have an alt stationed here, and I am waiting for the yell to let me know that the ZG buff is going to drop. It gives you about a 30-second heads up when the buff is going to drop, so it gives you plenty of time to log out. Now what's nice about the flight pattern here, it's an instant log out. So you could do it down in the inn, but most people all gather around here at the flight pattern. So there's the red text I was talking about. Like I said, a lot of times I'll come down in the inn just in case someone is going to attack you. You got to be careful with mages or with priests actually dispelling you. Now you got your buff. It's time to log out. So I wasted some time here actually going to Org thinking I could get the Rend Buff. I missed it twice, but ideally you would just log and wait to actually get the summon like I just did directly to Upper Blackrock Spire. Once in Upper Blackrock Spire, hopefully your priest is already ready to go. As soon as you walk in, he's going to give you the buff, fire resist buff, which is great for fighting fire. Boom. Now I got all of my buffs. I have everything I need actually in my inventory. Go. Like I said, the biggest thing, make sure you have everything in your inventory. Any speed boosts you want to have, really you want to with your guild so you can get ported around, one ports and summons around. As you see on my Songflower, I think it's at 50 minutes. So all in all, I think I wasted about 12 minutes total in buffs, which is not good. If you have the proper summons and the ports and you're not filming a video and trying to show what the buffs look like and all of that, realistically you could pull it off and have usually 55 minutes left on all of your buffs, if not more. So it really depends. It greatly helps you out when you have warlocks to be able to summon you around.